Good Saturday morning, everybody. Welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show. It is not a regular thing that we come on Saturday morning at 10 a.m., but we do have a tropical storm out there. The Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. Their phone number is 631-756-1125 in case you need to beef up some supplies with approaching Henri. The best prices in town, omnitruevalue.com is the website, and also brought to you by Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs with Halloween and Christmas down the road. You might want your home decorated professionally, or perhaps you want to become a professional home decorator for the holidays. 631-957-5106. They're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, New York, and the website there is liholidaylighting.com. And joining us this morning, just waiting to hear from Joe Rayo, but we do have meteorologist Bill Goodman. Sorry about that. From NWS in Upton, who's going to
there's rumors
join us.
The name changed at Ellis Island when we came in from Goodwin. So you're right.
Well, I always thought that you might have been Bonsignore, which is Italian for Goodman.
Well, that's right. Well, I got some Italian blood in me. There's the Palazzo side of the family, so we
Oh, very good.
And we make a good tomato. So we make a good tomato sauce here. You're not going to get into sauce versus gravy. That's tricky business.
Gotcha. All right, we've got Henri, and there's a Recon in there. I'm going to bring up the Recon obs now, and this is a question. Well, there's two parts to this that have gotten my curiosity with respect to the fact that, and we were talking about this just before the show started. It appears, it certainly does appear that conditions are favorable for strengthening. The shear is gone. At least as far as we know, or at least it certainly is reduced, but it doesn't seem to want to go. Any theories on this?
Well, like we were saying, I mean, maybe just the toll that the storm's taken all this time, that it's not quite able to recover from it. But we just don't know. I mean, it's just getting to a point where it could strengthen, and there might be surprises. It looked like the outflow from once things get going, it looks like there's some decent outflow channels. So I think we just got to wait and see. I guess the other thing is,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
The other thing is, I mean, this storm didn't originate from the tropics. If you were to look back on satellite, you would actually see it was from a cluster of thunderstorms that started in the Plain States back August 9th or 10th, and actually part of it went through the metro area with severe weather, and then moved offshore. Right. Weekend got to the stream and said, "Hey, I still have some life in me."
Yeah, and sometimes the origin, the seedling disturbance is very important, because usually if they start off as these cold core-ish systems, they take a long time to. There used to be a rule that I remember that said that when you get these cold core systems to develop, and we saw a lot of those in the 70s and early 80s, that they never get beyond a Category 2 hurricane because of the fact that they're doing this cold core, warm core transition. I think that rule was broken sometime late in the late 80s. I don't remember the name of the storm, but it wound up going to almost to a Cat 4 with those kind of origins. But it does certainly make a difference.
Was, Diana.
Yes, that's it. That's
Diana in 1984.
Yes, that's correct. So I mean, the origin does make a difference. I'm noticing on the Recon, because it's got the satellite still shot on the background, a couple of things. On the strongest winds appear to be on the southwest side. The southwest side. There's a band there of 64 to 83 knots at flight level that the plane measured. The two center fixes, 993 pressure. One fix at 30 33.5 and 72.5, and the next fix is northeast of there, closing in on 34 and 72, but no change in pressure, 993. There does seem to be more convection on the northwest side now for the first time. So it's got from now until it gets north of 36 and a half north. It's going to be over, it's just about getting ready to go over the Gulf Stream. Maybe that might give it a little juice there for a few hours, but it probably is. It's not going to get, it's just going to get maybe to a minimal Cat 1 and then peak.
That's possible. I mean, one thing I often notice, at least with the Hurricane Center forecast, they tend, if there's an increased trend in intensity, they tend to be behind the curve a little bit. So I guess in the back of my mind, I'm not ruling it out getting briefly to Cat 2 strength before weakening. I suppose that could still be in the cards.
Okay, so the hurricane tracks on the 12Z that were out, they seem now to be clustered right over central Long Island. Somewhere between the Saginaw Coast Parkway and maybe let's go the Billy Floyd, or maybe just a little bit east of the Billy Floyd. Well, I always like to call the William Floyd Parkway the Billy Floyd Parkway. I think that makes sense. All of this, of course, hinging on that upper low that is sitting to the west, and assuming that the seems like the mesoscale models have picked up on that, are making much more of that, and the European is too now, and the mesoscale, the GFS not so much, in this idea of hooking back to the northwest and somehow finding its way into the Hudson Valley, as far as the center is concerned. We're going to see a high-grade tropical storm making landfall. I think that's a given here.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I mean, actually, a storm that doesn't that might be still purely tropical in its structure. Well, at least that the rain will start maybe to shift to one side, but the wind fields might still be pretty symmetric. I think we might like west of the center, might see some winds just almost as strong as on the east side.
Yeah. And then, of course, the big question is going to be the arc of rain, because we know that when they get up at this latitude, they love to take that arc of rain and swing it over to the west side.
Yeah, that's right, and that's been advertised with this all along. I suppose if if anything, yeah, to the west side, sometimes just right ahead of the track. I guess can't totally rule that out, but yeah, just knowing how these things behave in transition, I would think to the left of the track. So center going across central Long Island. It sounds like Western Suffolk, Nassau, maybe the city gets some very heavy rain.
Yep. No issue there. The Gefs last night, the ensembles, the mean was looks like between Moriches and Riverhead, or the William Floyd Parkway and Riverhead. Looks like half the members on the left, half the members to the right, but fairly tightly clustered. So we know what the operational did, obviously. And on the intensity guidance, you can see the intensity guidance is really backed off. It's got this short window in the next 12 hours or so till about midnight, where you've got a couple of them. They now only have about 3 of those models that go up to Category 1, and then of course you see what happens after that. You get that slope down of strongest winds until after landfall, and then of course once inland, it all goes away. I'm going to switch off now to the satellite had some missing frames on it from GOES, which is the white, and seems to be having trouble downloading it. But you can see the top of the storm, the northern half is trying to arc around. So maybe we're going to see this burst from now until the first part of tonight. If it's going to happen, it's got to happen right away. And the other thing I did notice, Bill, that we've already got on the radar, even though it's down at around 34 degrees north, there are some showers up just east of central New Jersey offshore, and they're just moving. They're sort of creeping northward. Stuff that's running out well ahead of the tropical storm.
Yeah, I see that. No, those showers actually extend all the way back down to east of Cape Hatteras, and maybe their motion is a clue as to where things are gonna head later. It looks like they're headed due north. So when that short wave to the west really starts to have more influence, that might suggest then we get that little bit of a northwest turn before landfall would be a real thing.
Okay. I'm just going to really quick. I just want to run through in case we don't. The last advisory was from 8 a.m. And that is. Let me pull this up here on nhc.noaa.gov. Nope, wrong one. I pushed up Hurricane Grace, which, by the way, made it to a major. It got to 125 miles an hour on the wind before making landfall.
Yeah, that's really impressive. You just get something like that over really warm water, and I don't think it was over that water for very long.
No, that Southwest Gulf is tricky sometimes. Either they're too close to land and you wait for them to strengthen and they don't, or sometimes they blow up. And in this case, this one, pretty much blew up. So 33.6, 72.7 was the last advisory that we had at 8 a.m. Top wind 70 miles an hour, moving northeast at 12, and they carried a pressure of 993. And as we checked on the latest Recon earlier, just give it a quick refresh because the plane's now coming back for another fix. 993. So it's actually, I would guesstimate it's at about 33.8 and maybe about 72 and a quarter, 72.3. Looks like it might even be moving more 040. We'll see what they carry on the advisory. If it doesn't, the other thing I was theorizing on as I bring up the HRRR, the latest HRRR. The other thing I was theorizing is if it doesn't make it, when they strengthen. When they strengthen and become Cat 2s and Cat 3s, we all know you got to go higher up in the atmosphere in order to look for the steering flow, and they tend to want to move more to the right as opposed to the left, unless you have some kind of super strong ridge or a super deep cutoff that's driving that's the primary driver. I wonder, Bill, if this winds up staying where it is, with pressures in the low 990s, as a sort of high-end tropical storm, that may wind up helping falling closer to the idea that you're going to get that hook back to the northwest and that it would come sooner.
Yeah, I mean that could be the HRRR was a little bit quicker and it did make that northwest turn. So it's possible, but I guess if the surface pressures don't really drop, we're not looking at a hurricane landfall. It might have hurricane force gusts, but not sustained winds. All
right, and I'm running the loop now on the HRRR, and it's looking like after 0Z, you start to get, it's moving more maybe north, certainly due north, and possibly even west of due north, and then it starts to arc a little more northwest. The low center, the L, tomorrow morning is sitting on the HRRR 40.74 and 72.77 west, which looks like it's probably over, I don't know, Quag on Long Island. But look at that! Look at the rain band. The rain, though, it really just goes crazy. In the northern half of New Jersey, back through the Hudson Valley, western Suffolk, Nassau, to about New York City. I wonder what between that and with that upper low to the west and the track of this low that we might be setting up for some rather unusually high rainfall amounts on the west side for somebody.
Yeah, I think so. It's funny. It almost reminds me. Sometimes in winter storms, we see that inverted trough that interacts with an upper low to the west, and you get you get a band of very heavy snow. It's almost like a similar thing.
Right. And by the way, let's not forget Eastern Pennsylvania, because they actually even get into some fairly decent radar echoes here on the HRRR come Sunday late afternoon and evening into Sunday night. And then it's sort of, the HRRR wants to swing the low almost to Allentown, which is where we leave it, because the last frame is at 48 hours. So this would probably have at least, if this were correct, then we would still be dealing with lingering effects on Monday until the low got kicked out of the way. It still has 1,000 millibar low sitting over Allentown. Assuming that hook to the left is correct, but the HRRR is basically saying that the upper low takes over and the ridge to the north is still holding.
Yeah, that makes sense. And meanwhile, the circulation that whatever's left of Henri is probably after landfall is probably going to spin down pretty quickly.
Yeah. All right. You know what? Now
the upper low takes on.
Right. All right. I'm going to change over. The new NAM should be out far enough. So let's see. The 6Z NAM. It's kind of funny how we've seen these flip flops going back and forth with the models. With this far west track showing up on every other run, because the 6Z went back and taking it over New York Harbor. So now we have the 12Z. So let's see what spectacular thing it has to say for us now. The 20Z, so this is at 4 o'clock this afternoon, 36.1 and 72.08, and moving straight north. And I'm just waiting for my frames to load up little by little. A 990 pressure sitting off the Delaware coast at 9 p.m. And now it starts its turn. It actually is turning faster, a little faster here on this run. And here we are at 10Z tomorrow morning, 39 3/4, 72 1/2 is the position. And the system looks like it's coming on shore a little further west, not as far west as last night, but western Suffolk County, like right around the Saginaw Coast, right around Robert Moses, coming in and moving northwestward, crossing into western Long Island Sound to about Rye. Tomorrow evening at 10 o'clock, the 1,002 low there, and heavy rains over the western part of Long Island, New York City, particularly in northern and central, and even down into South Jersey during the overnight into Monday morning. And Monday morning, by the way, it's sitting the low is sitting right over New York City.
Yeah, I see that. Now that's the 6Z NAM that we're looking at there.
Is it the 6? Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
my fault. No wonder I thought that was weird. Okay, my fault. I'm sorry. I thought I thought it would have defaulted right to the 12Z. All right, now let's look at the 12Z. So I stand corrected there. I didn't have the in order to make the image bigger, I'm losing the top of the menu, so I didn't see that it was the 12Z. All right, let's correct that, and now let's go to the 12Z. So you got the 6Z at least, and now you know what it looks like on the 6Z, so you'll have it for comparison. And by the way, David Fuller, thanks for hitting the Super Chat tip jar today. Most appreciated. Thank you. Okay, so here we go with the 12Z, and it looks like on the 12Z, it's a little bit further at 7 o'clock tonight. It's at 36.9 and 71.2 with a 991 pressure. So it really doesn't change very much from there. Moving northward, there's a band of rain that's kind of a little arc there that comes off of it and goes into northern New Jersey, right along the immediate east, just the eastern part of the state, down to Ocean County. 989 on the low, starting to move west of due north, but it's a little further east here on the 12Z, Bill. And in fact, I'm thinking if it comes in over the Twin Forks, it might be, actually, it goes more toward Block Island on this run on the 12Z.
I guess that northeast motion that you mentioned earlier, right at the start, that might be a suggestion. It goes farther because it looks like it goes pretty far out.
It goes further out, and then it makes the arc back. But if it goes out to 71, or if it goes out to 71 and a half or 71, it's going to make the arc, but it's going to make it further out to the east, and wind up going further east before it turns back, because it does go back northwestward. It moves up into northern Connecticut and then finds its way to it's south of. I'm trying to guess where that could be. Maybe near Kingston, in upstate New York, on the 42-hour, which is at 6Z Monday. But the bulk of this, the really tight gradient gets over the east end. And into the eastern half of Suffolk County, and then it kind of slackens a bit. There's not a whole lot. There's not much of a gradient once you get into Nassau County and New York City, but there is a good deal of rain there. And yeah, there's some big rains that show up in western Connecticut, western Massachusetts, the Hudson Valley, and eventually the Catskills, and then it kind of arcs down into northeastern PA and northern New Jersey. So yeah, you're right. It's further east on the NAM, so it takes it out, and then it takes it because if it takes it out further, it takes the wider arc, the wider loop.
Yeah, so I guess what happens in the next 12 hours is really gonna be what determines where it makes landfall. Goes farther out than the NAM, this will end up being right. If that northeast motion is just a little temporary jog, and we don't know that yet because these systems tend to wobble, and the convection is still a little bit it's still not cement. The storm's still not symmetrical.
Yeah,
you're probably going to see little wobbles like that.
You're going to see the 500 on your screen. I'm running it backwards because I'm waiting for these frames to load. I could see the upper low on the NAM tomorrow morning is sitting, if you want to center it, it's probably near Baltimore. And you see it's a closed off upper low, and the storm just basically is rotating around it. And then they kind of merge together. But you're right. You're absolutely right on the notion that because it's out further to the east, you're getting that northwest turn, but it's coming out starting from a more east position. But very interesting here. This you made a very good point to me in that conversation we had the other day. How many times we've seen upper lows over the years that look very vigorous and very threatening when you're looking at them in the middle range, and then when you get into the short range, they wind up being. I can oftentimes think in the wintertime that we've seen the models dropping cutoffs down into West Virginia or Northern Virginia or Western Maryland. And then in reality, they wind up somewhere in upstate New York. And of course, you're looking, when you see them dropping down so far south, you're thinking snowstorm. And then when reality comes, it's anything but.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing. Sometimes the models just struggle with, when you have a hurricane that's coming at the coast, is it really going to phase with the upper low, or is it going to just be like sort of an obstacle that's in the flow that kind of gets pushed around by the steering currents? It's this seems to be, at least the way it behaves at the northwest turn, sort of a combo of both, because the upper low undercuts it a little bit. The high to the east isn't going anywhere.
Right.
It's not gonna go out. There's no escape hatch for it.
Right. So basically then we're just waiting, we've been waiting really for we're waiting for these very subtle players to show their hand in terms of, what's going to happen with this and where it's going to wind up. Can you remember? I don't ever remember. Maybe it's because it's a function of the fact that the upper air players are not, yes, the ridge is strong, but the upper low, it's not like we have this wrapped up mega cutoff, okay? It's a weak looking one contour cutoff low. There's no other flow from the northern jet that's getting involved. I think the fact that we're dealing with that type of system has created all these spreads in the guidance that we've seen, because every model seems to pick up on a different subtlety that changes the equation when it comes to where the landfall is going to be, either further west or further east, or or somewhere in between.
Yeah, it's just very complicated. It's models struggle with those types of upper lows. Their exact location, their intensity. I'm even looking at right now, like what the 12Z NAM is doing with its energy, and it almost looks like, it looks like it's more like the energy that kind of undercuts the storm itself is almost what's kind of kicking it northward.
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty complicated. It's and we don't normally see tropical storms or hurricanes taking this kind of route. It's usually a trough or an upper low that's to the west, and the high is a little bit the high to the east is a little bit more prominent, and it's just the hurricane or the tropical storm just rides the gauntlet. So yeah, it's very complicated. I guess that's why you can't. It's hard. It's impossible to rule out anything. I mean, it still may go a little bit more northwest. The NAM could be right,
or the HRRR could be right.
That's right. I think
it's a 60-mile spread here. It's a 60-mile spread. I think 24 hours out to have a 60-mile spread is between Block Island and say Robert Moses. That's still, I think, a pretty big big margin of error.
Well, it is. I think that's also the Hurricane Center's margin of error is probably bigger than that at that time range. So if you look at it that way, this is probably as good as it's going to get.
Yes.
We're probably still going to go with flip-flops in the track until we really know how far east it gets before it makes the turn. This is these next 12 hours, and how much it's able to intensify. Those are going to be those are the two things we have to see before we really have an answer about where it makes landfall and where the strongest winds, heaviest rain will be. It's
right.
Well, it's tricky.
Yeah, I'm just bringing up the rainfall on the NAM just to see what it's doing here for total rainfall. Of course, I'm just waiting for the maps to load. Timothy Veltman, one of the regulars on the chat board, sent an interesting tweet to me that I'm reading it now. It's from Tomer Berg, and his handle is @BergWeather, @BergWX. He says, going back to this analogy I made yesterday, despite being in a favorable environment for quickly intensification today, so quickly intensifying today, Henri remains lopsided this morning and doesn't appear primed to fully utilize this window before encountering cooler sea surface temperatures. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. Not enough time to really do it.
Right. Now the NAM rainfall, okay? The NAM rainfall has a 10-inch bullseye in southwest Jersey, and it has a 6-inch bullseye over Joe Rayo's house in Putnam and Dutchess County. 2 to 3 inches over Long Island. Joe's not on. Joe wasn't able to make it today. He's
cleaning the gutters right now.
Yes, which you're going to
cleaning the gutters right now.
Yes, which you're going to be doing shortly. So that's the rainfall. Listen, I don't want to keep you, because I know you got stuff to do because you got gutters to clean also. But I just want you to if you would just touch on this question, because I think the thing that people have the most confusion about is the storm surge, because it's painted over a large area, and it is track dependent. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are as far as coastal flooding for Long Island. The Sound is going to be in a tougher position, I think, with either track. The Block Island track is a problem for the Sound for coastal flooding, or could certainly be. I'm just curious as what your thoughts on that are.
All right. Well, the timing, if the timing is at midday, that'd be good news for Long Island South Shore, because that's then the landfall or closest approach would be close to low tide. I think high tide's about 8-9 p.m.
Okay.
So that would be great. Long Island Sound, the tides lag about 3 hours, so we're talking about let's see, so 8 a.m. For the morning, 8-9 a.m. for the South Shore, and then about 3 hours later for the Connecticut coastline.
So it'll be about 11.
I think the coastal flood problem could be more of an issue in Connecticut. I guess the only other thing I would say is, even once the center passes and you start to get southwest winds maybe blowing down the length of the Great South Bay, you always got to watch areas like Mastic, Shirley, Shinnecock. This happened with Tropical Storm Henri, that where after the center passed, they got their worst flooding because the winds just piled all the water up on the east end of the bay. So that we have to watch out for that as well. And that, if that happened, that would be starting with the tide, the astronomical tide starting to rise. So there's it's complicated. One thing that we do, the Hurricane Center tends to we talk because of timing and intensity errors. Until we're like really close to the event, we tend to think about more about close to worst case scenario as far as tides, and that's what we're seeing, that we have a storm surge warning that's over a large area. How it verifies that's going to be very dependent upon intensity, timing, all that. I don't think everybody's going to see it, but I'm not gonna be the one to tell people to stand down. That's for sure. It's,
right. And what do you think about New Jersey?
New Jersey, I guess they could have more problems in the morning with the storm kind of passing east of the coast in the morning, closer to high tide. That the Jersey Shore might see more in the way of flooding. I think the last that I had read was they were just expecting minor. The fact that they're going to be on the offshore flow side of the storm is helpful. The water's going to be pulled away from them. This is not going to be a Sandy situation where the water gets all piled up on the Jersey Shore, Western Long Island, New York Harbor. We're not looking at anything like that. That's the storm would really have to hook left, and it would have to be Cat 1 intensity, and like really hold its own coming in. That doesn't appear to be the case going into tomorrow.
All right. I got Joe Rayos trying to get on, and I don't see, it hasn't come up on Zoom to open his window. Oh, there he is. Hold on, he's coming. He might have a quick question for you, Bill, if you don't mind, just another minute or two. I know you got to get going.
All right.
Joe, we got his chair. Hi. Here he is. Hi. You didn't come up on the invite. I had the window open all this time, and it just came up now. There he is. He sees us. I don't know if he hears us.
Oh, I hear you.
Okay, great. All right. So I'm sorry.
I'm listening. I'm still listening to Bill.
Oh, okay.
On the chat, on the delay here.
He's got to go in a couple in a minute or two. So do you have any questions for him while we still got him?
Well, the first thing is that the screen is black. I'm not sure if everybody else is seeing what I'm seeing.
Hold on. Yes, thanks for telling me. Yeah, because I was doing switching back and forth here. So give me 1 second. The beauty of technology. Oh, there we go. Oh, yes, Macy.
That was the doom and gloom model. Everything was black.
There we go. Now you're there.
Yes, you heard Macy's upstairs telling you the screen is black.
Okay,
we already had a power hit. See, we like to do things interestingly here in Putnam Valley before any major storm. This actually happened last year with Ithaca. Ithaca had like 12 or 14 hours before it even started, doing what it did here. We had a power outage, and this morning I'm sitting in the TV room. It's about 8:15 or whatever, and all of a sudden everything, and you know how sometimes when you have a power outage, Alexa will come on and say, I'm not getting anything on the internet. Please check your connection. And I'm saying, what the hell's happening here? Already? So good morning to all. And I see that the NAM has landfall now midway between Montauk and Block Island.
Block Island.
Last night, the GFS, the 0Z run of the GFS, in case you didn't notice, had it between Block Island and Martha's Vineyard.
Yes.
I'm saying at this rate, when it finally arrives, it'll have a landfall near Bangor, Maine. But
yes,
it looks like it's a kind of like a hybrid now between the furthest west and the furthest east. It looks like what they're doing, the models are doing, is they're bringing the landfall a bit further to the east, but then once making landfall, that's when they start curving the damn thing over to the left or to the west. And from what I saw last night, at least with the NAM. Oh, did you see the Canadian last night? The Canadian last night was a beaut. They brought it across Nassau County up to Sussex County, New Jersey, northwest New Jersey. Then they dropped it straight south, and then they turned it off the central Jersey coast, and then they had it going east, south of Long Island. It did a complete loop around Long Island. I mean,
well, doesn't that speak to the fact that this weak upper low, every model has got a different nuance that it jumps on, and you wind up with all these weird things. The NAM from today with the low at Block Island, I don't know if you heard me, but when you look at the precip map, there's a 10-inch rain bullseye. And do you know where that 10-inch rain bullseye is? It's in Southwest Jersey. Okay, there's a
secondary.
Right,
there's a secondary one you said over my house.
Over your house.
Valley tractor beam.
Right, so you get Mrs. Rayo to take the Irene bucket out again and see if it winds up getting filled.
Yes, the iced tea beverage thing. That goes back to Irene. Our two big storms in terms of rainfall up here were Floyd and Irene. They were separated by 12 years. And let's see, 11 and 12, 23. All right, so we're a couple of years early. If we average every 10 to 12 years, then our next big flood is due right about now. And I guess that's where Henri comes in.
Right. So I think this all just leaves us still in the same sort of doubtful place that we've been at now for the last 3 days. I'm thinking, you know what? Let's just split the difference in terms of. Just split the difference between the furthest east, the furthest west. It cuts across, east central Long Island, does the loop around into northwest Connecticut, and just wait and see what happens. I think, Bill, you made a point earlier about watching the radar echoes that are over off the New Jersey coast, that they're already moving northward. Maybe that's a clue. And the other thing, that the other valid point is, we got to watch to see how far east it gets while it's moving northeastward right now. How far east does it get before it starts to turn to the north? If it waits till it's 36 or 37 north before it starts going, truly solidly in a northerly direction, then you're going to have it out more east before it curves back. If it's down at around 35 when it starts moving straight north, that's a different story.
Yeah. This is, this kind of stuff's almost at the noise level. It's really, it's really sensitive to, the future track is really sensitive to these small, these small things that maybe we would take for granted, even in a winter storm. Although a lot of times, even with winter storms, we see it. The models will say going to the benchmark, and then it ends up tracking in closer to Montauk. So even with these model tracks, it's still possible that it may cut in closer. Just based on at least what I remember from winter storms. That
Joe, is that the 6Z European?
Yes, sir, it is.
Joe's got the 6Z European on the screen. You should be able to see it. So what did that do?
I mean, let's see. It did. Here's where it supposedly is going to be at 8 o'clock tonight, 2 a.m. Sunday morning. 8 a.m. Sunday morning. It looks like it's south of Montauk here. And then as we get into 18Z, that's 2 p.m. Sunday. It's elongated. I guess it's about here. The center is still waiting to make landfall somewhere near Montauk. And then, oh, look at this. At 8 o'clock tomorrow night, they've got it moving up to east of Hartford. What do you say about that, gentlemen?
On the frame before, it showed a ton of rain right there.
Right, exactly. That's like 1.5 to 2.5 inches of rain. And the edge of the half-inch line has just made it into my neck of the woods in Putnam Valley. Lesser amounts further west and north, and of course heavier amounts to the south and east. So, but the track is interesting. I mean, they've got it up all the way into northeastern Connecticut. That's as of 8 o'clock tomorrow night. 2 a.m. Now, what the hell is that? I know what that is. That's the Diamond Express lane. That's for 2 or more passengers.
Right, exactly. It's the HOV lane.
The HOV lane.
Oh, this is and then look, then it goes. All the heavy rain goes into western New Jersey, eastern PA.
Right.
Oh, this is
Delaware, the Delaware water gap. Oh, look at this. The heavy rain is in Binghamton.
Well,
that's got to be the upper low. That's got to be the upper low.
Yeah, that's the upper low. And there's the wild. And as we've been saying all along, there's the wild card. All right, look, Bill. I know you have to go. I don't want to keep you. You have to go finish your gutters, and you got a big. Tell everybody about your big show tonight.
Oh yeah. It's fun. The band that I play in called the Mondays. We played at the Jones Beach Band Shell back in July, and we had another one scheduled for tonight. And with this hurricane coming, I thought, oh, they're going to cancel. We haven't heard any word yet, so we're still on. And I'm busy getting ready here, trying to get ready for it. Got to get the car loaded up and head over there early this afternoon. It takes a long time to get set up for that.
Okay, so
8 to 10.
So Jones Beach. Oh. 8 to 10, and
that's at the Boardwalk Band Shell. There's actually something going on at the amphitheater too. There's a big tribute concert for 9/11 that's going on. A lot of well-known national acts are going to that one. Us local guys, we're playing at the Band Shell. So if you're at the Boardwalk and not going to the big show, come by and hear us.
And here's a late bulletin from the executive producer, followed up by David Fuller. Henri is now Cat 1.
Oh, so they did strengthen it on the. Let me pull up the new advisory, and we'll see if the new discussion.
And I know exactly where the band shell is, Bill. I believe it or not, I was at the band shell in 1986 to see Skitch Henderson. Skitch Henderson, who at one time was the musical director of The Tonight Show. No, they didn't go back that far. But Skitch Henderson, he was a member, was the head of what was then called the New York Pops, and he was there because they had the great blimp race on 4th of July, 1986, and he was there to have music to accompany the blimps. He called it a blimpany, and I was right there at the band show. So I know where you're going to be tonight, and good luck, and let's hope that the rain holds off before your show. By the time your show comes to an end.
I'm worried. It's off the Jersey coast now. I'm wondering if we're going to get rained on even before then. That's it's rain or shine. We're going to be there. So
all right. So on the advisory, on the discussion, just real quick, Air Force Reserve NOAA hurricane hunters been investigating Henri this morning. Yeah, they've had 2 planes there all morning and continue to provide very valuable data. Air Force aircraft measured peak flight level wind at 82 knots at 700 millibars, which easily supports hurricane strength, but the initial intensity is set at 65 knots. As a blend of these data and somewhat lower SFMR winds. In addition, aircraft data indicate that the minimum pressure has fallen to 991. The NOAA tail Doppler radar data indicate that the storm is becoming more vertically aligned, and that a more symmetrical eye wall appears to be forming. In addition, drop zone data from the NOAA Gulfstream 4 aircraft flying around Henri indicate that the 34 to 50 knot wind radii are a little larger than previously estimated in the southeastern quadrant. NOAA buoy 41001, located in the northeastern quadrant of the hurricane, has recently reported 18-foot seas. And the man in the rowboat that's out there is also reporting a 40-mile-an-hour wind. Henri moving north-northeast 020 at 12. The steering pattern appears fairly well established, with a cutoff low located over the central Appalachians and a ridge building to the east and northeast of Henri. This pattern should cause the storm to accelerate to the north or north-northeast today, followed by a slight bend to the left on Sunday. The latest run of the GFS has shifted east, but overall models are focused on landfall anywhere between central Long Island and Rhode Island on Sunday. Blah, blah, blah. Environment looks favorable for Henri to continue to gain strength through tonight with low shear, upper level divergence associated with the upper level trough and warm sea surface temperatures. In fact, the GFS and the HWRF also show the minimum pressures dropping by 15 millibars or more during that time period. And then, you get the rest of it is just what we already know what's going to happen when it gets closer to shore. So that's their latest thinking on all of this. So, Bill, thank you so much for being here and joining us.
You're very welcome. I wish I could have been here last night, but had a date, so my wife had a date, so it wasn't breaking.
Right, and you know what? If you could have broken the date, but you wouldn't have been alive to come on this morning. So, thank you for keeping the date so that we could have you in a breathing, living position here on our show. So good luck tonight, and have a great time. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for having me. See you guys later.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, Mr. Rayo. I think I got stuff to do too. So, and I'm sure you have some stuff to do. I was thinking if you are available, we could do another update tonight, maybe sometime around or after 8 o'clock. Does that work for you, or are you tied up?
Where am I going? And as far as doing an update, so long as I have power. As I said on the message when I got power back, I said this also cut into Bugs Bunny this morning, which distressed me to no end.
Yes, I'm sure it did. Infuriated.
It was one of the episodes was no more bullets.
No more bullets.
Oh, bullets!
Hey, laughing boy.
Oh, wait a minute.
No more bullets.
Boy.
Right. One bullet left. All right.
One bullet left.
Yeah. So look, let's shoot for 8 o'clock. 8:30, but let's shoot for either one of those start times. And everybody, so just watch for your notifications. If you're on Patreon, I'll put the post up, which I forgot to do last night. I'll put the post up as early as I can, and we'll do another update during this evening. Let's think around 8 o'clock Eastern time. Okay.
We'll be here.
All right. Thanks everybody for being here. Steve LaPointe, I don't want to forget you. You hitting super chat today, and David Fuller also. Thanks to both of you for doing that, for banging the tip jar. Every little bit helps, as they say. All right, have a good rest of your afternoon.
And 77 likes, Joe.
And 77
likes.
77 likes.
78 likes. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that maybe we could go shoot for 100, but we'll try to shoot for 100 tonight. And I know once it's off, we'll get over the 100 because we had almost 200 likes on the video last night. All right, everybody.
I get the suspicion. I get the sneaking suspicion, Joe. We're going to have probably the biggest audience tonight that we've had going back to the big snowstorm. Remember back in February where we had like 900 people watching?
Yeah.
I don't want to say about 900. I'm not saying 900, but I think we're going to have a fairly large group gathering tonight around the computer. So I'll be there.
Okay.
Just make sure
you're there. All right. Yes, with dust, and that dust is a gift from. All right, we'll see you later. Bye.